Thank you for joining Wars of the Rosies as we continue with part 31, lesson 30, the Illuminated Faith, Mystical Interpretation of the Gospel of St. John by R. Swinburne Clymer. Lesson 30. While man follows the desires of the flesh, he is blind. When he obeys the voice of the soul, he begins to see. St. John chapter 9, 18 through 41. 18. But the Jews did not believe concerning him that he had been blind and received his sight, until they called the parents of him that had received his sight. 19. And they asked them, saying, Is this your son, who ye say was born blind? How then doeth he now see? 20. His parents answered them, and said, We know that this is our son, and that he was born blind. 21. But by what means he now seeth, we know not, or who hath opened his eyes, we know not. He is of age, ask him, he shall speak for himself. 22. These words spake his parents, because they feared the Jews. For the Jews had agreed already that if any man did confess that he was Christ, he should be put out of the synagogue. From this, we see that excommunication by the church dates from before the time of Jesus, and was the sword that was held above the heads of all those that would dare to seek for the truth. 23. Therefore said his parents, He is of age, ask him. 24. Then again called they the man that was blind, and said unto him, Give God the praise. We know that this man is a sinner. The leaders feared that, if the man who was blind should say it was the Christ who had healed him, the multitude would desert the established church and would follow Jesus. They were willing to do anything to prevent this. 25. He answered and said, Whether he be a sinner or no, I know not. One thing I know, that, whereas I was blind, now I see. When we obey the desires of the flesh and live the carnal life, we are blind to higher things, for we know nothing except that which belongs to the flesh and the world of the flesh. But when we deny the desires of the carnal self and listen to the desires that spring from the soul, we begin to do the will of the Father. And, as we do this, gradually we receive illumination. Then, in proportion to our degree of illumination, do we see both the things of the flesh and the things of the Father. Whereas we were blind before, now do we see. 26. Then said they to him again, What did he to thee? How opened he thine eyes? 27. He answered them, I have told you already, and ye did not hear. Wherefore would ye hear it again? Will ye also be his disciples? 28. Then they reviled him, and said, Thou art his disciple, but we are Moses' disciples. Here we have the key to the cure of the blindness, for he admits that he is his disciple. To be a disciple of anyone means to follow his example, to believe that which he teaches, to live the principles as they are taught. Through obedience to the law did the blind man receive his sight. 29. We know that God spake unto Moses. As for this fellow, we know not from whence he is. What though some masters did receive messages from the Father, and was taught by the Father? That will not save us, nor give us immortality. Only when we ourselves so live that the Father is with us, can we become immortal or have eternal life. 30. The man answered and said unto him, Why herein is a marvelous thing, that ye know not from whence he is, and yet he hath opened mine eyes. 31. Now we know that God heareth not sinners, but if any man be a worshipper of God, and doeth his will, him he heareth. 32. Since the world began, was it not heard that any man opened the eyes of one that was born blind? 33. If this man were not of God, he could do nothing. This may seem a contradiction of other parts of the scriptures, for it is clearly stated that God does not hear the sinner. In a sense, this is true. When the sinner or doer of evil awakens to the fact that the life of evil is not the true life, when, on account of this awakening, he changes his life and begins to use his thoughts, his desires, and his powers for good, then is he no longer to be classed as a sinner. Though he may have much sin upon his soul, he is not now a sinner because he has changed his mode of living and is now obeying the law. Now the Father hears him not as a sinner, but as one who is obeying the will of the Father and is striving to free himself from sins or evils committed in the past. And Jesus taught that we should let the past bury its dead. It is for us to live the enlightened life and, through the enlightened life, to free ourselves from the dead and evil past. 34. They answered and said unto him, Thou wast altogether born in sins, and doest thou teach us? And they cast him out. 35. Jesus heard that they had cast him out, and when he had found him, he said unto him, Doest thou believe on the Son of God? 36. He answered and said, Who is he, Lord, that I might believe on him? 37. And Jesus said unto him, Thou hast both seen him, and it is he that talketh with thee. 38. And he said, Lord, I believe. And he worshipped him. 39. And Jesus said, For judgment I am come into this world, that they which see not might see, and that they which see might be made blind. 40. And some of the Pharisees which were with him heard these words and said unto him, Are we blind also? 41. Jesus said unto them, If ye were blind, ye should have no sin. But now ye say, We see, therefore your sin remaineth. Moses had taught the divine laws to the Jews, and therefore they could not plead ignorance. They knew the law, they were not blind to it, but they refused to obey. He who knows the law and does not keep it is doubly guilty, for he must suffer both in soul and in body. He who is ignorant to the law, while obliged to the penalty of disobedience to the law, is not held morally responsible. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment. And if you can, please consider donating to Wars of the Rosies. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.